If you want to build your own neck, you're going to need a truss rod in there. If you also want to enforce your neck with carbon fiber rods, you'll need a couple of extra channels. There's a very simple way to do it, and if you stick around, we'll go through the process step by step using just this little trimmer and a few bits. So let's route some necks. Hi, I'm Yoav and this is the Electric Luthier. If you're building your own neck, there comes a stage where you have to put a truss rod in, and it's always a bit scary, and those truss rods don't come with a manual. Now, fancy plunge routers can make the job a little easier, but even if you have the smallest trim router you can find, and I think this one is part of my ongoing experiment and cost about $40, you can do just fine. In fact, whenever possible, I prefer to work with this small one and not my larger router. It's small enough to hold in one hand when needed. It's perfect for the smaller 1/4-inch blades, and it doesn't kick back half as bad as the larger sibling. As we'll see in a bit, it can still do damage and demands your full attention. So we have a router. What else do we need for this? We need a truss rod. I expect most of you would pick the easy and sensible way and get a simple two-way adjustable truss rod. These are not expensive. They do everything you need. They have a low profile and they're easy to install. So if you don't have a factory, they're better in probably every way than the ones Fender and Gibsons use. You can choose to have the adjustment on the headstock side or at the heel, which is what I'll be doing here with the wheel. It's mostly a design choice, but it does have the added advantage of not routing and weakening the nut area. Most truss rods will be 6 millimeters or 1/4 inch wide, which is actually 6.25 millimeters, so even if I use them both in this video, make sure your router and your bits are consistent, especially if you're ordering from different continents. Now, if you're using any other type of truss rod, just be aware of the dimensions. The next piece of hardware are the carbon rods themselves. There are no standards for the profile and thickness. I've ordered these a long time ago and they're about 4 millimeters by 6. Solo Guitar Gear now have in stock some that are roughly the same size, something like 5 by 6 millimeters and even up to 9 millimeters, which works out to be 0.2 by 0.25 inches and up to 0.35 inches. They also have them for bass necks, which can probably benefit from them even more. I'll link those below. Now, to complete the job, you'll also need a few bits. For the truss rod, you can get away with a 6 millimeter or 1/4 inch straight carbide bit. Most truss rods will get thicker towards the end, and that's where you have two choices. One is to use the same bit and do a couple of side-by-side passes to widen the channel. The other, which I like, is using this 9 millimeter or equivalent, which also has a round bottom. This will give me the width I need, be more efficient because the truss rod bottom is round, and looks better if it's visible on the headstock side. The last bit you'll need is another thin straight bit to match the thickness of the carbon rods. Now, if your carbon rod is also 1/4 inch thick, you can use the same one you used for the truss rod. Okay, when we approach the truss rod, we know it's going to run right on the center line. So we need to check and mark the center line. Another benefit of the laminated neck. For this method to work, You have to do this when your neck blank is still square, as we're going to use the parallel guide that comes with the trimmer. By the way, this blank is made of an IPA center, which is probably stronger than the carbon rods, and poplar sides, which is fairly neutral when it comes to tone, but not as strong as maple, which is why I'm adding the carbon fiber rods. Wow, the birds are really loud today. We want the neck to be secured to the table. You can use double stick tape, masking tape and super glue, or clamps, as long as they don't get in the way. My blank is wide enough, so I just screw it down. I do make sure the screws are sunk in. I position the neck to where I want it to be positioned, and then measure and mark the thickness and where the different routes will have to be. For this truss rod, I'll also have to make a bigger slot for the wheel. I also mark where I want to position the carbon rods. They are always going to be upright for better strength, so I route the thinner profile. My limitation here is the wheel size, but regardless of that, you want them to sit in equal distance from the center line, but I guess not too close to the edge. I set the guide to the center line. I test on the part that I'm going to cut anyway. This is going to be very useful for trying out different widths. I adjust it slightly. I like to start with a very shallow pass. It will do less damage if I'm not exactly in the right place, and will allow me to correct in the next pass. I check it again with a truss rod and mark my limit. Now I adjust the height for the second and deeper pass. I manage to lose concentration for a fraction of a second, and the router kicks towards me, making a dent in the straight channel. This will be covered by the fretboard, so let this be our little secret. The guide only protects one side, so the main thing to stay focused on is holding the trimmer firmly against the neck blank. We'll be going through this motion multiple times, so try and position yourself in a way which will be more comfortable for you to work in. I switch sides. For the last pass, I check the thickness of the truss rod and adjust the trimmer. Now make sure the truss rod fits. I'd rather have it a hair under and not sticking out. This will really compromise the fretboard adhesion. For the thicker part of the truss rod, I switch to the 9mm round bit. I only need to route the thick part. I can't fully insert the truss rod because of the wheel. Now a thin, sharp chisel will be the way to carve that little slot for the wheel. And the truss rod fits perfectly. Next, I switch to a 3mm straight bit. I don't have a 4mm, so I'll have to do an extra pass to widen it. After the initial test on the end of my neck again, I see that it's going to cut a bit too close to the wheel, so I adjust the flaky guide. This cheap trimmer is generally doing a great job, but the accessories leave much to be desired. I do one pass, and before doing any adjustments, flip and do the other side. I try and get away with widening and going to the full depth in the second pass, but after routing both sides, I check the fit and see that there is no avoiding a third pass to get both the depth and the width to fit the carbon rods. After a bit of cleanup, I'm done. The truss rod and carbon sit in place and are ready for gluing. This would have worked the same way if the truss rod adjustment was on the other side. Now I started routing from the heel, so both the truss rod channel and the ones for the enforcing rods will be exposed at the heel side. They'll be in the body, so they're not really visible, But if you want to avoid that, you just need to manually and very carefully plunge into the channel. The same goes if you're doing a Strat style headstock and routing the wider part at the headstock side. You can also pre-drill a hole to start from, but be very careful from kickback when you turn the router on inside the hole. If you do have a plunge router or a plunger attachment, that's of course a better choice. With larger routers though, do be careful staying stable on top of the neck. That's it. You're ready for gluing as far as the neck is concerned. I hope this has been helpful. I've linked all the tools and hardware I use below, and you can show your support through those links or any other means you like. You're also welcome to check my other videos and of course my website, theelectricluthier.com. And until next time, go ahead, build a guitar.